FC26 is just around the corner, and we're already seeing a load of new leaks come out as to what EA are going to be implementing into the next version of their FC franchise. I already made a video recently about some of the news and rumours about this game, but there's been a lot more developments recently, and I've also got some exclusives to share with you during this video as well. So stick around to hear those, because there are some exciting potential new features in the game that I've not seen talked about. Let's talk about something that I briefly spoke about in my previous video about FCIQ. I spoke about there being potentially some new roles being tested in the game, and that's where a lot of these leaks are coming from, are the people testing the game. Now apparently we'll be getting an FCIQ 2.0, so whatever that means, I don't know, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to customize player positions or formations, so which is ultimately what everyone wants. We're probably going to be getting some new player roles and focuses, whichever that means. So looking at this tweet here, it just says it is true that there will be some tweaks and many additions to maximising footballing intelligence in the game. EA really want to focus on the realism in the game. They say that every year, and like I say, if we can't customise the positions of players and move them around and make our own formations, I don't know if anyone's going to be interested in any other developments with FCIQ. Let's just see if there's going to be any more flexibility with that, but I don't really hold out that much hope, to be honest. Talking about another new feature that's going to be getting further improvements, and that is Cranium. There's been a lot of talk about Cranium recently. I've seen a lot of appreciation posts about this as well, myself included. A lot of people are happy with this feature. For me personally, it's one of the best things that EA have added into the game recently. The extra customization, creating players, and also the player faces are so much better this year. So ironically, they're bringing a 2.0 of this feature. Like, of all the things they need to fix in the game, Cranium isn't it. Like, they've actually pretty much smashed it, to be fair, with this feature in FC25. But according to Mateus Gamer here, he says it is already clear that Cranium will have a phase 2, perhaps one of the best features and so necessary for a game with more than 16,000 players in various clubs and leagues. I hope that in phase 2 they will bring more customization and the option to use one's real face with possible changes. In addition to faces, I believe EA could bring AI to audio and facial expressions in the future, as it did with the beginning of the Zidane cutscene. There is obviously extra things that EA can tweak in this, and we already know that AI interviews are going to be a thing in the game, so adding like player voices, that is probably something that is probably a path that they'll go down in future versions of the game, if not FC26. But this tweet from Footlatest, who have been leaking a few things, they've told everyone that it will be possible to import your own photo to generate a custom face using Cranium in FC26 using new added technology. Now this is the only thing I think they really need to seriously look at adding into Cranium, other than the odd, you know, maybe like the odd hairstyle or beard or face tattoos, things like that. Generally, they've got everything in there that we need, but the next step was always going to be to add a custom face into the game or scan your face with your phone, things like that. If that is what they're going to add in FC26, that is going to go down very well, even though it has been long overdue. And I said this in my previous video, this was one of the features that I predicted would be added into the game, because realistically, if they're going to add in new technology over player faces, I always believed that this was going to be in EA's mind, and this makes sense for a phase 2 of Cranium. So this would be a feature that a lot of people will be happy with. The potential to use just photos means that you can import real life player faces as well, or celebrities, or anyone really that you have photos of. So that would be really useful in the game if you want to create players that aren't in the game, or of course yourself. Now let's talk about a couple of potential exclusives that I have to report. So I can't disclose the source or the person who gave me this information in the DMs, but I was in contact with somebody who has been playtesting FC26. They sent me a screenshot of the settings section of the game, and it already leaks a few new potential things that EA are testing for FC26 and further beyond that. So I'm going to run through those. Now obviously, this is all with a pinch of salt. I'm gonna trust the guy that it is a genuine screenshot, but you know how Photoshop works, so if this doesn't come through, don't come shoot the messenger, okay? But let me just list a few things. This is basically in the settings aspect when you're like setting up a career mode, where you get all like the different things like financial takeover, like the difficulty, the manager sackings, all that sort of stuff. Obviously it doesn't tell us too much, but I'm just gonna list a few of the new things. So on this screenshot, we've got deeper simulation. You can switch this on and off. I have no idea what that means, to be honest with you, but that is a thing. Youth Academy on or off, which I don't really get that. Like, you can turn off having a youth academy, I don't know. But the next thing is what I really want to talk about here. Manager market, switch on or off. So there is a potential that manager transfers might be in FC26, or that it's been tested currently by the FC testers. This is something, again, that in my previous Rumours video I predicted would happen, because this is already in EA's college football game, and realistically, with all the manager presets and things that have been added recently into the game, I imagine that this feature might be coming soon. And the fact that we've got a setting here for manager market potentially, for me, says that there's going to be manager transfers. Potentially you might be able to apply to any job in the world, or see which clubs clubs are sacking which managers. All this would be amazing, honestly. I really hope that this is true. Another setting here is unexpected events and also unexpected events frequency. No idea what this means. This, if I'm to speculate, this could be like players like doing things off the pitch that are out of your control, or getting like crazy injuries, or getting into controversies, or getting homesick. Maybe like your owners go bankrupt or get a financial takeover. Maybe there's like some weird scenarios that could be added into the game. This would be interesting. I'd like to see more about this. And the next one I've got a bit more information about is points deductions. So apparently this has been tested in the game, where you can choose an amount of points to be deducted from your club in the league to add more challenge into the game. And on the setting here, it has up to 20 points as well. So that could be something interesting. I mean, it's not a major feature, but it is something that they'll need to be added into the game realistically, because with live start points, there are going to be clubs, especially like in the EFL, it's very regular for clubs to get points deductions. That is obviously something EA were probably looking to add into the game anyway. Now again, the guy that was supposedly testing the game, who was in the DMs with me, he also told me that there was going to be a new game mode added into career mode that it was difficult to explain. So initially I thought, this is something to do with open world, because it is public knowledge now that there are people testing the open world side of things, which I will talk about later on. And the feedback hasn't been great for that, by the way, but that's what I assumed this guy was on about. But no, and I'll read what he says, is that you can go through different challenges within the game. So this kind of links back to the points deductions. You can potentially have like a points deduction and have to be up to a certain position in the league by a certain date. He listed another scenario here where it says sign 2 crucial players by August. There's a few different challenges. Maybe like you get like an injury crisis in another time, if I'm to speculate, because these were in Football Manager as well at one point. I'll be honest, hearing this news, it doesn't really get me that excited. I don't know why we need challenges when we've got live start points. If we're keeping things realistic, I mean, if it's not going to be too much effort for EA to add into the game, I guess it's not that bad, but we'll just see about that. But yeah, apparently, according to my source, career mode challenges will be coming to the game very soon. Okay, I'm sure a lot of people want to hear about the open world again. So there has been a few more developments about how the open world will work in the game. So initially I thought this might be something that would be incorporated into player career mode and pro clubs, but no, this is going to be its own game mode apparently within the game. Whether this expands into different modes, I don't know, but we have this tweet from Foot Latest again, where he says, exclusives in the new open world mode coming to EA Sports FC. You'll be able to own your own house, money, go to shops and buy clothes, train on Volta-like pitches, own your own car, interact with other users, and set up custom lobbies. So it's kind of sounding a little bit like the park, or now what's called the city in NBA 2K. Kind of just like a mini GTA, but around football. And we have obviously seen the screenshots of what kind of image EA are going for. This just, for me, sounds like a microtransactions heaven for EA. They're going to add in loads of limited edition clothing and cars and houses and things like that you have to buy with your own money to get like coins within the game. I mean, we can see this from a mile off. And the feedback for this mode hasn't been amazing by what we've heard. And a lot of people just aren't that bothered about this new game mode. They just want things that are already existing in the game to be improved. So honestly, I'm not really that hyped about this whole open world thing. It's obviously something that you can interact with your friends and run around a city and play different games, I suppose. On one of the images, there's a massive stadium, so maybe there's going to be competitions or something. But yeah, I'm not really that excited for this, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like EA, again, are putting a lot of resources and investment into a completely new feature that, don't get me wrong, people have kind of asked for, but I really don't think it should be the priority for EA. If they got career mode and ultimate team and pro clubs near perfect along with the gameplay, then you can start looking at these things further down the line. But for me, this just isn't really that exciting. We also have here from Mateus Gamer that the new FC slogan will be "The club is yours." It's changing from "For the club." I don't really understand what the difference is, to be honest, but I thought I'd share that. Everyone was talking about the new logo, so new slogan as well apparently. Let's see if if the game's any different to the previous ones. We're also going to be getting a stadium returning to the game apparently. So the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium with Napoli, that's going to be added back into the game as per Mateus here again, which would be a nice addition. Getting stadiums in the game, especially for big clubs like this, is definitely a positive. So we're going to see De Bruyne ball out in this licensed stadium in FC26. Next up from Foot Latest, we've got transfer negotiation cutscenes will be revamped in FC26 career mode. So the fact that we're concentrating on the cutscenes here and not the actual negotiations is a bit of a worry. Are we just going to get more cutscenes in different locations? So instead of being in like a restaurant or something, where we're like in a park or something, I don't know. I think if you're not going to sort out the negotiations and add more realism or clauses or things, I don't really care about the cutscenes. Maybe they're removing them entirely, because actually when you're submitting a transfer bid, that usually doesn't happen face to face in an office. So that might be something that they're fixing to make it more realistic. I don't know, but this again doesn't really get me that hyped. Now, I did see a tweet, which I can't get a screenshot of. I can't for the life of me find it again, but I quoted it in the tweet that I put out when I was talking about the rumours for new features in the game. And that was that EA were going to concentrate on a wider variety of licensing geographically in FC26. I was trying to interpret what this meant, whether we're going to get some more leagues and nations from different continents. For example, Africa, which is extremely underrepresented in the game. Likelihood is, because with the World Cup coming around the corner next summer, they're probably just going to add in a few of those nations potentially, and then probably remove them in FC27. That's what you can really expect from EA these days. If I'm being optimistic, hopefully they add in some new leagues from around the world, which would be really exciting. There's some in Europe that we need, but there's a lot out there that would be really beneficial to the game, and it would bring in new audiences as well. And we have got official confirmation that the Mexican League has been removed from Konami's eFootball game, so that does strengthen the rumours that is going to be coming to FC26. It hasn't been officially announced by EA, but it does look like that is the likelihood, that we are going to get the Mexican League back in the game, which is always a positive. It's a strong league that was missing for a couple of years, so we'll gladly take that back. And finally, regarding a reply that I got to my tweet talking about the AI interviews that's basically been confirmed now, we have got FGZ News here, who leaks a lot of things. He's fairly reliable when it comes to leaking FC new features and things like that. He's also said that the AI won't just be for interviews a lot more. He hasn't elaborated on that, but I guess that's a positive, because AI interviews aren't really, I don't really think many people are that excited for it. So if the AI spreads to some other features, which it should, I'm really against AI in general. But when it comes to video gaming, I think it's very beneficial, and for EA, it's definitely something that will increase the range in which they can push into new features and add things into the game and make things a lot more realistic. So let's just see how that goes. But yeah, maybe that will be maybe going back to the negotiations cutscenes. Maybe we'll see people actually talking in those cutscenes. I don't know. And even now, as I'm editing this video, another tweet had come out. Now, a little bit of a leak from Foot Detective originally regarding the testing of this free roam game mode, where they're testing indoor, outdoor arenas for street football, along with now beach football being added to the mix. And this is all what's been tested currently, so it's not necessarily set to be in the game, but that's probably the sort of thing that we're going to look at in this free roam mode, a variety of different ways to just jump in and play football in and around this new virtual city that we're going to get at some point. Again, do we really need this right now? I'm sure down the line it would be a cool feature, but at this point everyone really just wants career mode fixed. They want the gameplay fixed. Even the Ultimate Team players aren't really that happy. There's so much that EA need to fix in the game. Why are they focusing on a new mode? Also, with this point, one based around Volta and Rush, two game modes that really nobody's that bothered about. Volta got removed from the game because people weren't playing it. Rush this year, has anyone really cared that much about it? So again, they're focusing on things that are proven not to be that important to the community. So why are they putting so much time and resources into this? Meanwhile, career moding the gameplay aren't where they should be. They need to be putting as much resources into those as possible. Let's just see what more news comes out. I'll keep you guys posted on X and here on YouTube with these videos as well. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about these features. Are there any that you're really excited for? And make sure to hit a like on the video. It'll really help the channel, and it'll really help me out with growing this channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out all my other videos. I've got quite a few on FC and covering other football games as well. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.